Taylor.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls!
Hey witches, if you are enjoying Waking Up the Witch, then you're definitely going to want to check out my magical shop, Moonbee's Wellness in Medford, Oregon. We have a curated collection of crystals, incense, sage, witchy books, tarot, oracle, and so much magic made locally here in the Rogue Valley. Whether you're just beginning your witchy path or you've been on this journey for quite a while, we have so many items to support where you are in your journey. And we ship anywhere in the US. So no need to be local. But Moonbees is more than just a shop. We are also a sacred space and supportive to your healing journey. I'm a Reiki master and I also offer a lot of intuitive sessions, including past life readings and past life regression sessions. And all of this can be done virtually online. So I can help you no matter where you're at. Come visit us in Southern Oregon or follow Moonbees Wellness on Instagram and Moonbees_Medford on TikTok. And remember, magic's this way.
This episode of Waking Up the Witch is brought to you by Taylor Pickett Styles. I'm Taylor Pickett and I am an intuitive hairstylist in Southern Oregon. I offer in-person services as well as online tutorials on how to care for your curly hair, how to properly shampoo your hair. If you're a hairstylist, I offer lots of education and one-on-one consulting on how to build your clientele and take care of your clients. If you're interested in any of these services, please reach out to me. There will be a link in the bio. I also offer organic hair care from Innocence Organic Beauty, and you can also buy that online through me, link in the bio, and also on my Instagram page, Taylor Pickett Styles. I also have a TikTok page if you're into just talking a little bit more deeply about things, going into deeper dives about hair care, self-love, and self-worth. My TikTok handle is Southern Oregon Curl. And don't forget, tame nothing, nourish everything. Enjoy this episode. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls!
Hey witches, this is Amber. Welcome to this episode. This is part 2 of Taylor's journey. If you are finding this episode for the first time, you're going to want to go back to the episode right before this. That is part 1. So we hope that you enjoy the rest of Taylor's journey of becoming the amazing Scorpio queen, hair witch, amazing friend, amazing mother, and co-host of Waking Up the Witch. Enjoy!
I was like trying to get my spark back. I worked at a mall salon, and then I also worked at like 2 or 3 restaurants. I was working all the time. I got my little apartment by myself. I got a house by myself
That's
at
amazing.
one point, and then Justin moved in.
Oh no.
And then we broke up again. And I don't even remember what the fuck happened during that time. I was like, I had started school for cosmetology. I graduated, and then I was doing hair. So I escaped from him, got my own place for this.
Yeah, when did
Forgot.
you go to cosmetology
Yeah. So
school?
like we lived together in that apartment.
Mm.
We broke up. I got my own place downtown. Then he moved in. And then I started cosmetology school.
Mhm.
And then we got an apartment in the county. And I was working at my first salon. And then we broke up
Mhm.
for good when I was
Mhm.
23. And then, yeah, I was working like at a bunch of restaurants. I got my dream apartment. It was like in this poppin' little area of town.
Mhm.
If you've been around me at a party and I was drunk, I probably showed it to you in the Nelly's Air Force One music video. The
Oh
little
yeah.
apartment right above where he shot the video. And I always used to get drunk and be like, that was my
So
there's
cute.
like something popped up on the screen. Pause.
It's the reaction thing, remember?
Okay, interesting. So there was a salon on that street. So this street's like full of bars and restaurants, and like some of them are like historical. Like the restaurant that I lived across and above is where Chuck Berry did like his residency, and like there's like Chuck Berry statues around, and it's like a very
Wow,
musical
cool.
little area. So there's like 3 venues on the street, and then they're across from like my favorite venue that had like my kind of bands all the time was this salon called V Vegas that I really thought
Cool.
everyone that worked there was so fucking cool. It was like all these people with like crazy colored hair and tattoos, and I was
Fun.
just so like normal feeling and like wanted to be different so bad. And I
Mhm.
was like, I have to get in
It's
there.
because your little high school self never got to express the other
Yeah.
side. She had to be Hollister.
And like the party girl, like festy girl got smushed out and
Uh-huh.
smothered my entire soul by
Mhm.
that relationship. And so I applied there and I didn't get it.
You weren't cool enough.
No. And
Damn.
also I'm pretty sure I went to my interview
Interview.
so
Oh
hungover and like
no.
kind of just rushed through it. And then
Ugh.
so I worked at the mall salon, and then 6 months later I emailed the owner. I was like, "I'm ready now." And she was like, "Okay, like come back in and you can interview cuz it's like a practical interview. So you have to
Okay.
like do a model when you're
You
there."
did that hungover at your
I
first
was like
one?
probably still drunk.
Fuck.
But I was
I
always like
mean,
that.
being that young, that's just what you just party all
Always.
night, you
Yeah.
sleep 2 hours, you go to work, do your shit,
I
do it
most
again.
of the time when I worked there, I was probably still drunk in the
Yeah.
morning. But I got the job,
Amazing.
and I think she hired me just like on hope. And I don't think my skill
Your
set was as good, but
determination.
yeah, I think she was like impressed by my want to try. And then I started that job with like a full book, and I'd never had that before. But
Like,
like
they were they booking with you specifically, or they're, like,
it's in
booking
the
appointments
salon.
and
Like
it's,
my
like,
very
they're
first
pushing them
day,
off to
my
you?
day was full, and it was
Amazing.
full the entire time I worked there. I barely
Wow.
ever had a gap. And so that, and I worked 40 hours a week, and I just started to like really find myself
Mhm.
and like figure out who I was as a hairstylist, and people
Amazing.
fucking loved me. And I like loved that. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people booked with me because of my personality and not
Totally.
necessarily my skill. And I was really good at retention. And like, I just really, really started to figure out who I was as a hairstylist
That's
there.
awesome. How old were you again?
23.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
huge.
I'd been doing hair for 3 years at that point. There's some stuff I forgot to say. Like, I didn't graduate high school, and then I was working at a fine dining restaurant. I told one of the girls there, and she was like, I'm going to tell the owner if you don't get your GED.
Mm.
And so she helped me study at like a
Dang.
Panera Bread for like a couple months every day. I don't even remember her name. I think it was Melissa. She had like a wonky eye. But she helped me study every day. And then I went in and I took my test for the GED. And then next day I signed up for cosmetology school.
Amazing.
So if that lady never like pushed me, I don't know if I would have been able to go to cosmetology school.
Wild.
And so, yeah, working there was like incredible, but I still was like fully booked, not really. I was broke. And like I was going out every night, but I was a commission and I just, I don't know how people were like supporting families off that income. So I
You just make
worked
like a percentage of your sales or
40%,
something.
yeah, of sales. So my paychecks were like $1,400 for 2 weeks.
That's amazing at 23.
Yeah, it was. I felt like I made, compared to some of my friends, I was making good money,
Yeah,
but like I didn't really feel like I was. My rent was only $500. I didn't have any other
that's
bills,
amazing.
but I would get off on Friday night, go bartend that night till 3 a.m.,
At
wake
the bar
up.
downstairs.
No, it
Oh,
was like down in Soulard. And then, or like I would wait tables there or whatever. And then Saturday night, I would do that again. So I was working like 70-hour work weeks,
dang.
but it was fun as
Yeah.
fuck. And I
Yeah.
loved it. And I was like ripping shots at work, like at the bar. And I could like, I had like bouncers. So if somebody pissed me off, I'd be like, get him out of here. And I like could just do whatever I wanted. And they were like
Because you were taught
DJs.
that back at the daycare when you were a
Yeah,
kid.
I found myself again. And I think that like once I got free of that relationship, everything I did after was almost in rebellion
Yeah.
to that. Like he didn't want me to get like a tattoo. And his mom was like, don't let him tell you what to do. And I did it anyways, but he was like so upset. It's a bad tattoo too. So that sucks.
Which one is it?
It's the lips that looks kind of like a lobster claw now that I've gotten fat. So everything I did was kind of out of a rebellion of that relationship. I started getting tattoos. I cut all my hair off. I dyed it blue.
I've
Didn't want
seen
to be
pictures of your blue
normal.
hair. It's so fucking cute.
It was my identity for a long
Yeah,
time. Like
it's so
everyone knew
cute.
me as that girl with blue hair, but I just wanted so badly to be like my own
Whoever you
person.
are because you
Yes.
decided. Yeah,
And so
I love
I
that.
was like sleeping around. I was like partying. I was just like so much like, fuck you. This is who I am to everybody. And I think that was a great one of my favorite times of my life. And I am so glad I had that. I think so. I'm like doing this for a couple years. I worked there for 3 years. I do a lot of things in 3 year cycles also, which is weird. I worked there for 3 years and then my best friend moved to Oregon and I was partying a ton, like every single night. And I went to this like rap show and I like missed a stair and sprained my ankle. And then there was a shooting the same night and I like ran from the gunfire at the concert at the show. And I fell asleep on my friend's couch and I woke up the next morning and I couldn't walk on it. And I was like, fuck. So then I couldn't work for like a week or two. You push. Thank you. So that like set me, and I was already kind of like around 2016 when Donald Trump got elected. I feel like I had an identity crisis because I had lived in this bubble where I thought everyone was good people. And it had like flipped my worldview completely upside down. And I went into full fucking crisis mode where I was like, I thought we lived in this where everybody believed in like human rights and equality and like all this stuff. And then just for all this hatred to start happening, which I guess had been there the whole time, just didn't
Yeah.
really have a voice. It was like the underneath layer.
Yeah.
It rocked my fucking world in like a way that like I can't even explain it, which I'm sure was a huge collective
Yeah,
experience
totally.
that everyone was having. And I started going to therapy and I started to try to figure out how to meditate and I really couldn't do it. And I was doing these like self-love like yoga things where I would like hugging myself and like chanting things alone in my apartment. And then I would just like I kind of stopped going out at some point because I was like just drinking wine on my couch watching movies trying to figure out the world. And I was listening to meditations every night, going to bed, and I did that every single night for a very long time, like guided meditations. And that was like kind of, I think, the start of something that I didn't really know what it was. I made fun of woo woo people all the time. I thought it was lame. I was very like, I'm too cool for everything all the time in that phase of life, which I think also I kind of wish I didn't go through that because I wish I would have been more open to stuff. But it's fine. It got me where I am today. So, yeah, dealing with like all of, I think, the change of the world and then like breaking my ankle or spraining my ankle, put me into this like huge depression, and like I couldn't leave my house for that week. And then Allison found out she was pregnant a month or two before that, a couple months before that, and I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so lost. I'm so confused. I was in a really dark time in my life, and she was like, we could come live out here, and I don't think that she was being serious. But I was like, okay, I quit my job. I put in my like
tomorrow.
4 weeks notice. I'll be there. And she was kind of like, oh, okay. Actually, what's today's date?
The July 15th.
I moved to Oregon 8 years ago today.
Stop. On the day? Holy
Yeah.
shit. Oh,
May
8
15th.
years.
Thank
That's
you.
crazy.
It is crazy.
Oh, today was my last day working a corporate job.
Wow.
Today.
How many years ago?
4.
Wow. Wow. That's not
I've
that long
not
ago.
worked for somebody else for 4 years.
Crazy.
I've been working solely for myself.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Anniversaries.
Well,
Congrats to both of us.
yeah,
We've
congrats.
made
It's
it.
crazy.
That's
It's only
crazy.
been 4 years. I'm like, that doesn't seem.
I mean, I was building my business while working the corporate job.
Yeah.
I was doing all of those things
Yeah.
while I was daydreaming at my job. But I still had to make some money.
I moved out here. I keep saying this lately because I don't think I understood at the time how fucking ridiculous this was. But I had never Googled Oregon. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know anything about it. I only knew that a couple people I knew lived out here. So I felt like, okay, well, at least I have some friends out there. But I didn't know anything. I sold all my belongings. I left some of them in my apartment for a friend because I was planning on coming back. But I like sold my car, just got a rental car, whatever I fit in there, and I just showed up here. I slept on an air mattress upstairs at Allison's house. And I feel like her being at the end of her pregnancy and me being in a dark time, like our friendship kind of suffered while we were together a little bit. And it was so lost when I got here and so confused. And I would just sit up in my room and like cry and journal. And I knew I didn't want to be at home, but I didn't know where I belonged. And I was gonna do like weed work, but I needed money, so I did trim some, but then I got my Oregon license and I got a job at a barber shop in Grants Pass.
Nice.
I am not a barber.
No.
I fucking hated it.
Like the license for Oregon, was it just like a test or do you have to like
I had to go to Salem and take a test.
Oh,
Yep.
crazy.
All
All the way to Salem. Damn.
Yeah, that's where you gotta go. So I don't like men, first of all. I thought barbers were like bad bitches, and like they are for sure, but like I love that like people that go to salons, not just women, but people that want a salon experience are much more detail oriented, and I love that about like being behind the chair. Men would just grunt and sit down and be like, shorter. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then I'd be like, that's too short. And I'm like, you just said shorter. You didn't tell me anything to do. Hated that. But I was like on Tinder. I went on like 2 Tinder dates before that in St. Louis. I was on Tinder all the time, going on all these crazy dates, just doing it for the plot. Like, I wish I would have had a TikTok back then because that would have been some wild fucking stories. I loved going on bad dates. I loved awkward. I loved just like doing everything for the plot. Like I just loved, I don't know. I loved it. I felt like powerful or something. I went on a Tinder date. I worked at the barber shop. I went across the street and took a shot. And then I went to the restaurant next door. And then I like waited for this dude. We had like talked a little bit, but not really. He walked in. And I like looked at the menu and I was like, I don't want anything here. Can we go somewhere else? And he was like, yeah, sure. And we went to another bar. I was not planning on staying in Oregon. I was like working to get my stuff to teach English in Thailand. So I was saving up all my money for that. And I had like done the paperwork. And I just talked about myself the entire time. I didn't ask him one question because I didn't give a fuck. And then I was like just eating chicken wings, drinking beer, talking about myself. And I was like, can my friends come up here? Like, do you care? And he was like, no, just invite them up. And I invite my friends up, reconnecting. Fine, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
My friends walk in and he's like, "Are those your friends?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Those are my friends." And I was like, "Okay." And we like partied all night and I wake up the next day and this guy's like basement house surrounded by like 6 wiener dogs. I'm like, "Where the fuck am I at?" And that was my husband.
I'd love to hear his version. It's
Yeah,
so
well,
funny.
me too. And we've been together every night since then. And that literally changed the entire trajectory of my life. Um
You're just
probably
out having a good time,
vibes.
practicing life, not giving a fuck.
Yeah, I was not trying to like date this man. At least not that night. After the first night, I was like, okay.
You liked his penis. Did you
Well,
remember his penis?
no, I don't know if we even hooked up because we blacked out, both of us. I was fully clothed. He was butt naked. So who knows what happened? I don't think we
Oh
had
my
sex.
gosh.
And it was never like, it was never that. It was never like we're just hooking up. It was
Yeah.
definitely like there's something here from the beginning. Maybe not the first night, but definitely like the second day that we hung
Yeah,
out.
what'd you do that day?
Well, I went on a hike by myself and I was listening to a true crime podcast and I I think my phone's just dying is probably what's happening here. Oh, I was listening to a true crime podcast, which is not a great idea to do
While
on
hiking.
a hike. And I was like in the middle of the woods and this man kept saying, "Ma'am." I thought he was saying, "Ma'am, ma'am." And I was like, no. And I kept walking. And so the hike goes either on a loop back to your car or across to another parking lot. There's like 2 parking lots to get into this like wooded area. And so I just ran out of the woods because I'm like, I'm not trying to be alone in the woods with some man trying to get my attention. And when I got to that parking lot, I was like, the walk is 3 miles on this road to get back to my car, and the
God.
sun's going down and my phone's
Oh
starting to
my
die.
God.
And I was like, I'm just gonna walk back into the woods. So I start to
Oh
go
my
back
God.
into the woods, and the guy's like, "Ma'am," and I'm like, "No, I gotta get out of here." And so I had 2 friends, maybe 3 that I knew here. None of
Mhm.
them were answering. The sun's starting to go down, and I'm panicking, and I'm like, I'm gonna call that guy from last night because he said he wanted to hang out sometime. So I called him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm like lost in the woods on this hike. Can you come pick me up?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Okay."
Curtis is so chill.
Yeah. And so we hung out and then we hung out every day after that. And it was just so beautiful and romantic all the
Aw.
time. And I was just like very quickly obsessed. It was like 3 weeks in and he was like, "Can I say something?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, I think I love you." And I was like, "Oh my God, I love you." And it was like before we'd even been dating a month, we were like in love. I remember I told Allison, she's like, "That's stupid. You can't love someone after 3 weeks." I'm like, "Okay, bitch, calm down."
Full-heartedly believe you can.
I think that so in her defense, like she had the baby
Yeah.
on September 15th and I met Kurt 2 weeks later and I think she felt like I wasn't there for her postpartum and he
Yeah.
was like taking that away from her.
Yeah.
In hindsight, me having a baby, I definitely fucked up there. I
Yeah.
was trying to give her space, but I don't think she needed that.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Allison. I have cried a lot because I wish I did better because I know it was really hard for her too. Postpartum, but you don't know till you have a baby. So then, yeah, Kurt and I whirlwind fell in love. It was so fun all the time. He owned a house and I was like trying to move back to St. Louis for a short period of time just like with no plan because my sister was gonna have a baby. So I moved here in July and then in December and we met like October 1st ish. And by December he had signed his house over to his mom and was moving to St. Louis with me.
Wild.
So I went back to St. Louis, sold some weed for a couple months, and then came back to Oregon. And then in February, we like drove across country. And he fixed up this fucking car, this like 4Runner from the 80s that had 3,000 miles on it.
Oh my gosh.
Fixed it up. We drove it around the block and we're like, sounds good. And we drove across country with a U-Haul trailer on the back. And it broke down in Albuquerque. We were stuck there for like 5 days. He found a part to put into it. And then we like kept trucking to St. Louis. We were a mile from the house, and the whole undercarriage of the car just like fell out
Oh
in
my
the like
gosh.
on the street,
Holy shit.
and we got towed the extra mile to the house.
Damn, so lucky to like make it that far. That's
It was
crazy.
crazy. Moved back into the same apartment. It wasn't really complex, but like building
Yeah.
that I had lived in before. But the girl that I was letting sublease my apartment just like left all my shit there, everything I had ever owned. She just like left it there and got kicked out and wouldn't tell me really what happened. And like she had moved into a house. So like for a long time, I assumed she had my stuff until I got there, and
no.
all of the things that I'd ever owned were just gone, which has happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
So Kurt and I moved back to St. Louis for a short amount of time. That was really fun because I got to like show him who I felt like I was at that time.
Yeah.
Because again, like moving to Oregon from St. Louis, so like I'd made a name for myself in St. Louis, and I lived in this area where everybody knew who I was, and then I'm moving myself again to a place where nobody knows me, nobody gives a fuck about me, and it's like the same situation I went through before, where like I don't know why that matters to me, but I like to be known, and I like to have like a presence, and I like people to know who I am. And so it was cool to like get to show him that. And then we like moved back to Oregon, and I've shared this before, but that's when like our U-Haul trailer with everything that we owned got stolen on my birthday, my 27th birthday. So that was in October 2018. Show up to Oregon, our housing has fallen through where we were supposed to live. We don't have any of our stuff. It's just us and our 3 fucking pets and whatever was left in the car. All Kurt's like work stuff was gone. There were like
He had tons of
TVs and
tools and stuff
guns
too,
and
right?
30 grand worth of just probably everything, every tool he'd ever collected, which he needed because he was a machinist. He couldn't like go back to work right away, but my hair bag was in the fucking trunk of the car, so I
Oh
had
my
it.
god. That's
And
so
so
lucky.
we started a GoFundMe and raised like $1,200, and that was enough money
Huge.
for me to buy product to start my business
Oh my
at a
gosh.
salon. We were living in his friend's mom's Section 8 housing apartment, but then our dog was like getting really old and like incompetent and was like peeing and like barking a lot, and we got kicked out of there because she wasn't supposed to have dogs. And then we didn't know where to go, and his grandma owned a little trashy RV that she bought for Burning Man. Bought that from her for like, I don't even know, just paid her over time. And we found a little spot on the river for $500 a month. We shared the plot of land with this guy named Skip that didn't have any teeth. And it was a really beautiful spot, but we lived in this RV from the 80s that had running water, but like only in the sink. So like you couldn't shower in there. There was no like hot water. It was just like whatever came from the hose to the sink. So we had to like boil water to do our dishes in the bathtub, shower at the gym. We did that for a while. Then we had roommates, and then we moved in with another roommate who turned out to be an asshole. And like so we moved in with her. Kurt proposed to me while we lived in the RV. So we got engaged March of 2019, set the date for like September 2020, and I was working at a salon. People started to know who I was. I was like running my own business for the first time. Everything like, I mean, even though we were the housing stuff sucked, like we were having fun and everything was really good. And we never like really, I mean, we would get into some fights, and it was always out of nowhere. And I think that that's when, like looking back, I'm like, Kurt was bipolar without medication. Cause I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why did this whole thing just blow up out of nowhere? But so, okay, we live in this house with the roommate. Our friend's getting married in Thailand. We go to Thailand for a month, and like we saved up for months to like make money to do this. And it was the coolest thing I've ever done in my fucking life. 10 out of 10 recommend for everybody. One of the coolest parts is we ended up on this like hippie commune part of this island where like all these Burning Man people go on the off season, and there's like DJs and yoga and everybody's naked, and it was like did
Dang.
like fire ass drugs, like the best quality. It was just like magical. Magical. So then this is all like February, the end of February, early March 2020. Everybody knows where this is
Yeah.
going. So like people are talking about COVID, but nobody's like taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And we're in Thailand and everybody's like, you guys should come home. Like, they're gonna close the borders. I'm like, no,
Uh-huh.
they're not.
Yeah.
We got home 2 days later, borders closed. And I'm
Crazy
like,
timing.
so much of my brain is like, what would happen if we got
If
stuck
you
in
were in
Thailand?
Thailand.
So obviously, like everyone else, this started like a very interesting time. We were living back in the RV, but in his grandma's driveway, because the roommate we had was like, I don't feel comfortable being quarantined with you. And I was like, me neither, bitch. Bye.
Yeah.
And so we moved back into the RV and we're like, we can't do this like in quarantine.
Yeah.
There's only so much like,
Crazy.
I don't know, hiking and whatever we can do. So we drove 36 hours straight, no sleep, to Alabama to my mom's house. And like all rest stops were closed at the
Oh my
time.
God.
Like you couldn't even do that. And so like we peed on the side of the road. And if we got gas, we didn't go inside a gas station because we were afraid to do that. So we
Dang.
just paid at the pump, and we had just spent all of our money
Yeah.
in Thailand because we
Yeah.
saved up for months. Like we didn't know we were going to come back, not be
So
able to
crazy.
work, and
Yeah.
like not have any money. And so we move in with my mom for a month, and she was a COVID nurse. So she was working like in the
Dang.
COVID units
Mhm.
because she worked for surgery, and like surgeries got canceled. So she was doing COVID and then coming home, and we were just like hanging out with her husband all the time, which was like fine. I was working out twice a day. I was like just making these elaborate meals, drinking
Mhm.
cocktails, FaceTiming the girls. Like
Mhm.
it was fun. Quarantine was crazy. And then they lifted it, came
Mhm.
home, was working with masks. And then George Floyd stuff happened.
Mhm.
And we were angry like the rest of the fucking country and needed somewhere to place the anger, and nobody had anything to do, so we went to Portland. My husband and then his best friend Mitchell, we all went up there. We would protest during the day and riot during the nights. We were running from tear gas and like these explosive bomb things, and I was out of shape. So
Portland was like in the news big time for those protests.
yeah, so the last night we were there, we had like run from the cops. We're standing on the hotel like property. Just like to the cops' knowledge, we could have just been like hanging out. They didn't know. And they were like, go inside. And we're like, okay. So we like start walking inside, and one of the cops shot Mitchell with a rubber bullet.
I forgot about
And
this.
it like went so deeply into his hand that there was like showing tendon.
Oh.
And we're like, there's blood everywhere. We run upstairs to get like stuff to stitch it with, and the cops show up because there were these two sex workers that had just robbed this guy upstairs, and we wouldn't let the cop in because we're like, fuck
Yeah.
you can't come in here. Like one of your people
Yeah.
just shot. He's like, I'm here for something else. And we're like, fine, you can come in. And then we like, Mitchell probably should have went to the hospital, but he didn't want to go to the hospital in Portland. He wanted to go to the hospital at home. So we were either going to like go straight home, which we couldn't do right then. So we went to our friend Lucy's the next day, continued to drink. We were just like, we got so drunk and like passed out on the floor. And I woke up to my phone ringing, and I just ignored it. And then I woke up, it was ringing again, and it was my aunt. I'm like, why the fuck is she calling me? That's so weird. He told me that my mom's husband, my stepdad, had shot himself. My mom was home, and that my mom couldn't talk right now, but she just wanted to let me know what happened. And I just remember I started like screaming, and Kurt didn't know what was going on. He was like, what are you doing? Go outside. And I'm like, okay. And I just am outside, and it was raining, and I was just like on my hands and knees in someone's driveway in the pouring rain, just screaming at the top of my lungs. Like feral. And Lucy drove us to the airport. I didn't have a flight or a ticket or anything. I just showed up at the airport in Portland and was like, I need tickets to St. Louis right now. And they're like, okay. And so the flight was leaving in like 30 minutes. I didn't have a bag. Like, I didn't have anything. I mean, like, I had the bag I took to Portland, and they're like, I go through security, and there's like White Claws and vodka. And they're like, you can't take these with you. I'm like, whatever, take it out. And we like get there in a daze, and that was just like horrible. And so I guess my mom's husband had started taking Chantix because he had to have surgery and he needed to quit smoking. And on the packaging, it says may cause suicidal ideations. And they were hanging out at the pool. They went home. They were talking about what they were going to watch on Hulu and what they were going to order for dinner. She said, I'm going to hop in the shower. He said, great. She went to the bathroom. She heard the gunshot and ran out there, and he had killed himself. And she saw it all. And
to like think that everything's normal and fine.
My mom
Biggest fear.
Never been the same since. But she's really, really strong. Stronger than anybody else I know. And she's been fucked over so much since then by the system and her job and her family and everybody, but hopefully me, my sister. And yeah, I hope nobody ever has to go through all the stuff she's going through. Still, 5 years later, just like so many major surgeries and getting wrongfully fired and not having help from our fucked up system.
Yeah.
And government. So all of that was really hard, I think, obviously for me for the rest of 2020. And then like we just were both struggling, Curtis and I, into 2021, and he lost his job, I think, before we went to Thailand. And he didn't want to get another one because we were just about to be gone, and then COVID happened, and then like when I did go back to work, I was making good money, so I was like, just renovate this RV and we can live in it. And he was struggling with his mental health, so it just wasn't happening. And then I got us a house, and he just still didn't have a job, and we were just struggling so much as like a unit. And then December, I don't even know if it was December of 21 or 2. It's all a blur, really. There was just a lot of like heaviness and sadness and just going through the motions. And he got diagnosed bipolar and got medicated, and that changed our lives dramatically. And he got a job, and then in 2022, when did I meet you?
I moved here in 21 August, and so February or January of 22.
Yeah. January of 22, I went to Vegas for my best friend's 30th and partied the whole time and was like, oh, we obviously had to cancel our wedding because of COVID, and the weekend we were supposed to get married, the entire town burnt down here. So thank God all my family wasn't here. And then I went to Vegas, and while I was there, I was like, oh my God, I should just get married here.
Yeah.
And that was January 31st, like that weekend. And then I probably met you like a couple weeks after that. And then I planned my wedding for August 30th. And so, or no, April 30th. So I was like 10 weeks. So I'm getting married, and we had everyone.
Oh yeah, that was that same year. That's crazy.
I met you probably right after I'd had the idea, and Kurt was like, sure, yeah. And then I called everyone I was close to and was like, can you make it this weekend? And they were like, yep. And so like 50 of us showed up in Vegas for the craziest weekend of my life, and it was so fun, so incredible. Like everything just was so fucking fun. And then got home, we were married, and it changed everything for me. I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's the same, but I don't know. I just felt so much more like in it and connected and like fully just like I would murder someone for you, like, which I mean I would have before, but it just felt so much more fierce.
You're family now, like officially.
Yeah. I just kept yelling, we're related. And he's like, no, we're not. Stop yelling that. In Vegas. And just can't, like I've said this on this podcast before, but like everybody says like you have to love yourself before you can love someone else, and I don't think that that's always the truth. I think that being loved unconditionally can heal you in so many
Yeah.
ways. And I had pushed away so many people that were trying to love me, but Curtis just wouldn't go away. And I tried multiple things to be like, push him away because I didn't think that, maybe subconsciously, like I didn't think I deserved it, his love or any love or whatever. And so he just loved me unconditionally, and it made me love myself more unconditionally. And his love and support has just like changed my life, and I don't know if I could like accomplish all these things without it. I'm a completely different person because of how like open he is with me and just like loving and can be calm mostly. Yeah, I think he's perfect. This morning I watched him wash his hands and I was like, I just love the way he washes his hands. Like, I love everything about him so much.
That makes me cry. So sweet.
Obsessed, so hot, and so funny. And I've never gotten the ick, even when he's annoying.
Yeah. I think that's like when you know it's like true love. Like, honestly, I think about that a lot.
I've gotten the ick from every person ever.
Like, I most definitely have like woken up out of a daze with so many other guys that I was dating, or
because
like
you hate the way they wash their hands.
Exactly. And just all of a sudden, like, I have to get out of this right now.
Like, why is he breathe like that?
Yeah. And
why is he crossing his legs like that?
Not once have I ever felt that with Mark either.
Same.
Where I'm like, yeah, like, he's fucking gross sometimes,
Yeah.
and he is annoying sometimes, and you know, all these things. And even through that, like, that really is a sign of like love, is
True
like
love.
just not fucking ever getting the ick.
You heard it here first. That's how you know you found your soulmate.
It's true.
Yeah. I tell him that all the time. I'm like, that's really weird. Also, like, I did go through a phase where I would like get infatuated with somebody for 3 weeks, and then I would be like, oh my God, I hate them. And I was like so repulsed. And I think I was addicted to the like love chemical in the brain, but then it would like wear off and I'd be like, ew, I hate you, get away from me, I'm gonna burn your house down. Or I ghost them, which I did all the time. They'd be like, I thought you were in love with me. I'm like, no, I actually hate you. So I waited for that with Curtis. Like, after like a month, I'm like, okay, when am I gonna hate him?
Yeah.
And then like it's been 8 years and I'm like, it never happened.
No.
So married life was great, and then not much to report there. Just continuing, like, I mean, I met Amber, and then she said that she was a psychic, and I've always been into shit like that. So I was like, I want to be friends with the psychic lady. And then we just started hanging out, and then I was like, I've always wanted a podcast, and she's like, okay. And Amber's always, as long as like
I'm
she
a
doesn't
down
have to
bitch.
hang out with her husband, she's like down to do whatever. Which mostly she won't take shots.
I
But
won't take shots. I've taken all the shots in my life that I will ever need.
But you're always, if you have the money and time, you're in.
Yeah.
And so I think I really didn't know much about anything spiritual-ish. I was very curious, but I didn't know a lot. And like Southern Oregon's a very open place for that. So just like chatting with my clients all the time, I'd like learned a lot of things and was like more open to stuff. And I've always been like big on manifestation no matter what. But like that was my biggest woo, I think.
Yeah.
And so meeting you, like, I just made me more curious, and we just like talked about life and the world and all these things. We're like, what if we had a microphone? We have the longest conversations.
Yeah.
We talk for hours and hours and hours. And then we started the podcast.
Yeah. Almost 3 years ago. I was reflecting on that yesterday. I made like a little post. I was just like, I just want to go back and like click on all the photos that I have of us that, like, you know, I don't have to go and put a smiley face over the baby, but just like, what do we have? Or that, you know, we're flattering too. Cause I was thinking, like, I think it's cute. You might be like, ew, take that photo down. And just like clicked on all my photos, and I was like, wow, it's like, it's almost 3 years since like the inception of like talking about this. Like, it's like 3 years since we really bonded like more deeply, where we first started having like bigger conversations. And because our friendship, it was like kind of slow at first, and but like always good when we were together. And then
I think
Just
it
all
was
of
a little intense for me to like it was real deep real quick and I was like
because we
afraid to
went
jump
straight to
in.
like, let's have a healing session together. So it's like, how do you not be deep after
Nothing
that
felt off
too?
limits, but it would like it almost drained me at first because
Yeah.
it was so much sharing.
Yeah.
I was like exhausted.
Yeah.
But then it like once we got the getting to know each other out of the
Yeah.
way, it was more like energizing and like I think that I was still somewhat of a closed off in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so like getting to know you and like opening up in that way was like healing also.
Totally.
And then we started waking up the witch in October.
October was when we had our first guest. But like all of September, we were like writing down ideas and like building the process and researching how to even do a podcast. I would say, I'm sure we'll have some sort of evidence that pops up, but I would say probably August is when we first kind of
Ordered our
talked
mics and
about
stuff.
like doing that. And then like we got our mics and we're like, okay, let's pretend to do an episode. What does that look like? And I don't know if I still have the app for it because it was through a totally different recording thing. And like we just accidentally recorded an episode that we never put out, but it was kind of fun. We just were like loose and silly. It's where like a lot of pieces kind of originated from. Like our theme song is hilarious because we were just like, okay, make a little fake theme song. And we just start doing that, like thinking it's the Bewitched song, but it's totally the I Dream of Jeannie song. So that's like kind of the origin of that. And yeah, we just like sat on your couch with our mics, like trying to figure it out and recorded like a whole almost 2-hour conversation, which then it was fun.
Silly.
Just being silly.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we can do this. It was so awkward and like now this is weird. We're talking into a microphone about it. But then we kind of got loose and
we tried doing it in different places. We were in that back room at your house and it was so hot. And then we tried to go upstairs and it was really hot up there.
Yeah.
And then we like this
as
because
the dogs are barking.
exist.
We didn't have moonbees yet. I hadn't done moonbees yet.
So it was just yeah. But a lot of things that have been coming through lately, now that we're starting to do other new things, is like I'm really proud of us for starting something that we didn't know how to do and just doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Like nothing needs to be perfect. No. The world needs your art.
Yeah.
Just make it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, you'll figure it out along the way.
I had no idea. But that's also how I started my business. I had no fucking clue. I just knew I wanted some legitimate place to like do business. And so I just fucking went to Google and was like, I'll figure it out as I go. What do I need? Where's my checklist? And I mean, now we have so much more technology available to us, which is crazy, even in 5 years. And like doing this podcast, like all like, okay, what do? We both are like researching, trying to figure it out, talking to people we know. All the websites.
Yeah, even like when we started this, it's not like we could ask ChatGPT how to start a podcast.
We didn't have AI
so much Googling
Yeah.
and not many answers.
No.
And we just kept.
When we had a vision, we knew too, like we wanted video.
Yeah.
Which we just now are figuring out, which is crazy.
But also like,
we
didn't have the flow. Our first guest set the flow for us.
Yeah.
And I asked my therapist to be our first guest.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And that when she was talking, I just remember midway through that interview being like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm fucking loving. I'm eating up
different.
every moment of her story. And this is what I want.
Yeah.
And that became so clear during that first episode that I was like, all right, this is what Waking Up the Witch is.
Yeah. It's so cool. It was not at all what we had like put on the vision board for it.
Thanks, Celeste.
Yeah. Thanks, Celeste.
I mean, it came to us.
Yeah. Because we put in the fucking work too. Like,
yeah.
We put in the work, we figured it out, we took some steps. And you're so brave. Like I'm like,
in what way?
I mean, in so many ways.
Why?
Like, I mean, it's really hard for me. Like, I kind of get like, for instance, like messaging anybody to be on this podcast is 98% you. Like, which is so cool. Like reaching
out. You gotta
out.
shoot your shot.
I know, but I don't have that bone in my body.
You're just gonna say no.
I know, but
or ignore you.
I get
or say yes.
So scared
Just do
I
it.
just get
I'm gonna
like,
make you do it next
no,
time.
fuck you. I don't
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah, exposure therapy.
Ew.
You gotta do the next
Like, there's
one.
just so many things. And like, even like, I think having a podcast is cool. And like, I probably would, like, I've talked about having podcasts before too, but like going through it, like, you're so brave and like confident that it, like, I feed off of that, where now I'm brave and confident doing things. I don't think it's like this natural ability that I have, like, and being around you and doing these things, like, I feel more confident
Thank
and
you.
brave because of you.
I didn't know that I was being brave, but thank you.
So brave.
Okay, well March of 2023, day that you opened the doors to Moonbees,
Yeah.
I took a pregnancy test
Yeah.
and found out I was fucking pregnant,
Yeah.
which blew my mind. I never really thought about it. I did. I never wanted kids. And then I was so deeply in love with Curtis that I'm like, if I'm going to have a baby, it's with you because
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed with you. And then I was like open to it, but I'd never been pregnant. So I just kind of figured I couldn't get pregnant.
Mhm.
And then when it happened, I didn't think like, fuck, or like, oh my God, I don't want this. Or there's so many times in my life where I was like, if I'm pregnant, I'm getting an abortion. Like,
Yeah.
no questions asked, not even going to think twice about it.
Yeah.
And I found out I was pregnant. I mean, like that whole journey was so consuming. I tried to open my own business
Yeah.
January of
Right
2020.
before you found out.
Well, we wanted to open something together, your healing space and my salon, and then like that vision wasn't coming together. So I found my space and then you found this space and it was all kind of at the same
Yeah.
time. I literally had been open for my salon for a month, my salon suite, before I found out I was pregnant. I was so sick. And then I was just like surviving. And it was like a 40-minute drive from here. It was so hard to do. It feels like a fucking dream. Like, I don't feel
Yeah.
like I even ever did that, except for my fucking credit card debt that I have. But
Yeah.
besides that,
Yeah.
like, I don't feel like that ever happened. But the $15,000 I owe still from a failed business, which is fine.
It's not failed though. I don't think it's a failure. Not in my eyes. I
I
think
should have
you
just not done that, but whatever. I
I
needed to get
mean,
out of where I was.
yeah.
And I needed
When you were already dreaming of literally doing that exact thing. Like, that was part of your plan and what you were working towards since I've known
I
you.
also know now I don't want that.
Yeah, you had to do that.
Yeah.
But you were so fucking sick the whole time.
Yeah, I had
It
to
was
tell
like
my
so
clients.
hard for you to even
Yeah.
show up
I had to
every
tell
day.
my clients early, like, pregnant, I'm not on drugs. Like, please, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. There's a couch in the front room. I'm gonna go lay on it while you're
Mhm.
processing. I just was so tired and sick the entire time. And then we
That place
like,
was so cute though. You did so good.
I think back on it, I don't think it was that cute.
For having it for what, 8 months? It was so cute.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So that's all a haze. It was really survival mode. I just showed up and did it, and then I finally was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I got a job at a salon in Medford, and it was really nice of her. She really worked with me to like be there and take maternity leave. And at that point, we like when I moved salons, I moved home. So we had been at that house for 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay. We moved into this like big house, and I thought at the time it'd be like me, my mom, and Curtis all paying rent.
Mhm.
Then I go on maternity leave, have the baby, and we quickly decide like Kurt's gonna stay home with her. He like had been laid off anyways from that job, and then they didn't have work for him.
Yeah.
And even if he did try to find somewhere else, like who knew what the hours would be, and like he didn't get paid. Like he had already been top of what you can make in that industry, and it's not really shit. And so we decided quickly that Kurt was going to be a stay-at-home parent. And I think back on that time like a year ago, and I'm like, how the fuck did I pay $2,600 a month by myself, plus whatever we needed to survive, freshly postpartum?
Yeah.
I mean, I blew through all my savings. We have so much debt now, but all of that to be said, like about the bravery thing, like having this baby has made me give so much less of a fuck about anything that anyone thinks at all. And I don't know why or what changed, but it's like, I don't fucking care. I feel fearless now. Like, there's there's almost like no situation, at least like business wise, that I feel nervous or scared about
Yeah.
anymore. I was nervous to do this, but once
Yeah.
I got talking, it was fine. But like, I have been in a lot of situations this year around really beautiful, powerful people, and I haven't been nervous. And I've been in rooms with those people, and I'm just like, let's go. And we talk to them
You're just
sometimes
peers.
on here,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yeah, we're all humans.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what it is about motherhood that changed me in that way, but I'm into it. And I also
I'm
think
into it too.
like maybe I needed that for the evolution of like all the things that I've called in for a really long time. Like maybe
Yeah.
that is what my soul needed to be ready for the next step.
Yeah.
Is like if I would have been given those opportunities before, I would have been like too scared or nervous or self doubt or like imposter syndrome or
Yeah.
whatever. But now I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So that's tight.
I mean, yeah, it's fucking great.
I mean, you guys kind of know the rest of the story. You've been here the
Yeah.
entire time. But if
And if
you
you're new here,
go back and
go
listen to
listen.
everything,
We are really open about sharing our
yeah,
stories and current life happenings and stuff. So
yeah.
you'll find
So
more details for sure.
motherhood's been beautiful. This life's been beautiful. Things didn't work out at that salon at this like crazy time where I feel like I quantum fucking leaped into whatever life and timeline I'm in now, and everything feels like it's exactly where it's supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
Like I never felt more aligned in my whole entire fucking
Yeah.
life.
Well, like, now like really going through like every step of your story, it's kind of like you've been here before too in a totally different way at a different timeline.
What do you mean
Thinking
by that?
about when you interviewed for that salon that you're like, that's really fucking cool. I want to work there. That's like where I belong. And they're like, no, not right now. So you like went to some place where you could grow and like be held, that was kind of a safe space, gain some skill, do what you needed to do to grow. And then we're like, okay, I'm fucking ready
Now I'm
now.
ready.
And then you go to this place that really like you were able to become who you are. And it's kind of like that situation again. Like the last salon was there to hold you when you
Mhm.
needed to be held. And literally, it's kind of interesting to think about the timeline of when you started there. It was like near the end of pregnancy, things were getting like much harder for you to show up every day. And it was like you got to be exactly who you were in that moment. And like all through postpartum, through
Yeah.
breastfeeding. And it's like around the same time you quit breastfeeding is
Yeah.
when that all started to change again, where you're like, okay, now like I'm reclaiming me
Yes.
in all of these ways. And so, of course, all of these other things are ready to shift now too, because you're ready to show up as who you are deeply, and you get put into a salon that you are so aligned with, that's like looks like a place that you could have created yourself. And that's so fucking cool. Like that place there's a place like you were meant to be there
It
too.
also didn't exist before last October. Like
That's
her vision
crazy.
hadn't been built. So it's like
I
it's not
love
like I
that.
could have gone there for my like
No.
when I was moving salons, like it didn't exist. Same with the house we're in. Like
Yeah.
it didn't exist till it does now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like everything's just
I
aligned
love
so
looking back
perfectly.
on life that way and just like noticing how you really had to go through all of those places and steps and situations to get where you are.
Yeah.
Because they were waiting, like they were also being built and going through their growth to be ready and become aligned
Yeah.
together. It's so fucking cool.
A lot of videos I've been seeing have been saying like think with Uranus like switching transits, it's like think of where you were in 2018 to
Yeah.
now, and like that's crazy because that's when I moved to Oregon to live to start my business, and then
Yeah.
it's like now I'm
You're like,
starting like all these new things and
yeah,
chapters and
whole new
everything.
evolution of everything. And it's like we've been doing this podcast for almost 3 years, but like, you have you and me and the listeners like have to realize like most of that you were pregnant and postpartum too, that like you didn't really get to fully show up as who you are
Survival.
also, like, which is kind of crazy to think
I don't
about.
know how some moms just like do all the things. Like if you please let me know. I don't know how people do it. I mean, some people have easier like experiences being pregnant and then like different morals and values of how to show up in their kids' lives. Like for me right now, I'm trying to make everything happen while also being present, and I just don't know what that looks like because she's not in
You're doing
daycare
it.
or anything. I am, but I could do more things. But it's fine. It is what it is right in the moment.
You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. And
It's a lot more than most people ever do. So
No,
all
you're
while
doing a lot. There's someone out there being
parenting.
like, "How do you do it all, Taylor?"
I just,
Because you're doing
my
so
brain
much.
never stops going ever. But it's also like I've been calling in all these things for years, and I'm like, I don't know how to make it happen. And now I see all the ways to make every single thing happen.
Yeah.
And it's like I wasn't allowed access to that
Yeah.
information until now because I
Totally.
wasn't ready.
You weren't
And I have the
ready.
same goals that I did, but I didn't, the universe wouldn't allow me, to like tap into that yet,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Well, and even if it was there, you weren't seeing it or getting it. Like it could have been the same information could have been there. Your brain and body and soul just weren't ready to like call it, like bring it in, integrate it,
Yeah.
hear it even.
But I kept saying, this is gonna happen, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
Now I know how, which is crazy.
It's fucking cool.
And I know it's all happening.
It already is.
It's in motion. I can feel it in my
This
whole
whole year
soul.
has been like big movement energy, I think,
Oh,
for
yeah.
a lot of people. I know very much like for you and I and our friend Alicia, like just even our little circle right there, like how much all of our brains are just like activated and like now is the time, and like the ideas are flowing through nonstop, and like being able to collaborate together is like, it's like, I don't know, I love not having to do life alone in that way. Like
Yeah,
it's really
me
fucking
too.
special and amazing to be surrounded by you and her, and yeah, just like other badass people that are making moves and that like we can inspire each other and find ways to like build and do things together as well as doing our own things, and that just bleeds into what we're doing individually. It's
There's science
fucking cool.
behind that. It's like surrounding yourself by other people that are motivated for the same goals.
Yeah.
Make sure you get to those goals.
I've never felt more activated.
Same.
And like the burnout is not as much as it was before. And also I have never worked so hard in my life, which is crazy. But I'm like doing things that are so aligned and light me up and soul led. And yeah, I'm just so inspired by you guys and inspired by myself. And it's fucking cool.
You're inspiring.
Thanks.
So that's my story.
for
It's crazy
sharing.
because in reflection, like obviously there's so much more to
Of
it, but
course,
like
yeah.
they probably more things that were important that I forgot about, but that's from the top of my head. That's like what I think is coming through right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all led you to be this magical, beautiful soul that you are today.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
My whole message is love heals all, and just keep your heart open, even if people fuck you over. You deserve love, and I don't think that shutting down will get you anywhere. I was fucked over by someone recently in a way that I haven't been in like since high school, and it hasn't shuttered me in one bit because I know myself and I know my truth and I know I'm full of love. And I'm not gonna like close that off from other people because that person was broken. Like that's their own shit to deal with.
Yep.
And karma's coming for you, you dirty little bitch.
Well, on Waking Up the Witch, we always love to ask our guests two questions.
I think I have 2% battery.
Okay.
You can just plug in my computer charger to it. Yeah, it's plugged in my computer. Good enough. Good enough. Okay.
Okay. What is one thing that what's one self-care thing that you just can't live without? What do you do for self-care?
Girl time.
Yes.
It's like so fucking healing. It regulates my nervous system. It resets me to keep going with my family, with my job, with my everything. Trauma dumping with the girls is so fucking healing. And if you don't have close girlfriends, you need to find them because everyone needs that and deserves that. It makes you a better person. It makes you a better parent, a better coworker, everything. Girl time is like
amazing.
Is my self-care.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
And if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would that be?
Well, my message and my word all this year has been worthy.
Mm-hmm.
You are worthy of love and success and money and greatness and friendship and family and purpose.
I love that so much. You are worthy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do we need to pull a card?
Hell yeah.
Okay, what deck do you want?
I don't know. You can choose. Wow, we did it. I blacked out. It's crazy. I am such a pop culture girly from birth. Shown up to kindergarten with Grease. So yeah. Here, I'll do it. The real glow up is internal.
So good. From the Magical as Fuck deck.
It's true.
I love that. What's on the bottom?
111. Girl, you better focus on what you actually want. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh,
yeah. Love it.
Awesome. And where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Oh my God, I just realized we've stopped giving people auntie advice at the end of the podcast.
Oh, we have.
Wow.
And
We'll do it.
we'll
right
bring
now.
it back.
You can find me on Instagram at Taylar Styles, TikTok at Southern Oregon Curl, or TikTok at Waking Up the Witch.
Love it.
No.
Right.
We'll give you some. We'll boss you around a little.
Love
Go
this
ahead.
part. Hang out with your best friend and go deep. Learn everything about each other that you have a conversation like this.
Yeah.
It's so healing, and getting to know your friend that way is, I don't think we give ourselves that opportunity often.
Dance your fucking heart out. Like, lose yourself in the music in the moment. Just shake your ass for your nervous system.
I love that.
All right. Thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you for sharing your story.
I did it.
You did it.
Bye. This episode has been produced by my husband, Curtis Burgess.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Waking Up the Witch.
And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
And don't forget to head over to the link in our bio on Instagram for all the ways to connect with both Amber and Taylar. And go to moonbeeswellness.com for all your self-care and witchy news.
We love you. Bye.
Bye. Ow. Ow.